Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I'm Yuri Folari. A couple of subjects today. I think we should start off with our neighbor, Ghana, the Republic of Ghana. As you know, they've completed their presidential elections, and here we are. It's about a couple of days after. The election was on Monday, and we had thought that we would be hearing the results within 24 hours. So had the Electoral Commission in Ghana declared. Quite surprisingly, I would think, because there'd been a lot of accolades. I don't want to use the word hype about how good Ghana is in its democracy, its arrangements, and it's a bastion of hope for Africa. So what happened? Anyhow, whatever we think, the Electoral Commission has put out there that, contrary to some rumors that we are hearing, there's no voodoo involved in this at all. It's entirely a logistical affair, and we'll be talking about that with Seyi Adeyemo. Mr. Adeyemo is a publisher, an African affairs analyst. Good morning, and thank you very much for coming on.
Good morning, Uncle Yuri. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, sir. Yeah. Now, the hope was high that we used to be able to know these things over in America. That one is a totally different story now. What happened with Ghana? The incumbent president, he's of the, many people in the race, of course, but the two front runners are MPP, the incumbent party, that is the National Patriotic Party, President Akufo-Addo, and NDC, the former party, the president he took over from, John Mahama, of National Democratic Party, NDC, as it's known in Lagos. Were you surprised that the results seem to be delayed?
First of all, I would say that for me, there's still the pride of West Africa, and the reason is quite, simple. What everyone have sort of, said was based on the fact that over the years they've done, they're handing over seamlessly. For instance, I mean, Mr. Mahama handed over as an incumbent to President Akufo-Addo, and it was very seamless. Yes, they will usually have one or two squabbles that we never hear, and they've always said that they've had a situation where they put Ghana first. Now, so why is this like this? It's simple. You have a very strong opposition, someone who had been in presidency, he was on seat, he handed over to the incumbent, and for whatever reason, maybe because of all the things that have happened over the years, particularly in this year of COVID-19, a lot of the expectations of the Ghanaians obviously have not been met. I mean, Akufo-Addo came in riding on the fact that he was going to chase out corrupt people and going to maim them and all of that. Plan. And like us in Nigeria, the expectation was high because in this part of the world, it is believed that our major problem is corruption. And so when someone comes telling you about corruption, every one of us will run towards them. And for whatever reason, he has not done as much as he said he will do.
Well, it's okay for us from outside here to be making these observations and comments. I was reading an opinion piece, and it was headlined the Ghana election between a crocodile and an alligator. Oh dear. Well, so I mean, you see, that headline sort of says, it says a lot. Yeah. We have that opinion here, in some parts, where they say there's very little difference between the parties. Not that the party members themselves will agree, but when you see the alacrity, so to say, with which people can cross from one party to the other here, so that commentary on Ghana's political process and the election being between a crocodile and an alligator, what does that say to you?
Tell me first that these two opponents, the major opponents. I mean, and we always do this all the time. There are other people who are contesting in this election, but for whatever reason, we always want to just put the rest of the people aside.
As in most elections.
Yeah. So the thing is, this is the third time they're facing up to themselves. So they had one that Mahama won. They had another that Akufo won. Now the third one seemed like a very fierce competition as well, because in some ways it seemed like, okay, this is probably the last time both of them will be facing up to themselves. And like I said before, they're both very strong candidates.
They are. They are. And make no mistake about it, Ghana is in a good place. You know, it's doing well. Ghana is doing well. But according to, you know, commentators' opinion, the people venturing their opinion, they say, well, Ghana hasn't been doing too well with the issue of corruption and between the two parties, especially
expectations.
Because,
yes.
and the two, you know, because as you said, people came into office riding on that particular plank,
Yeah.
and analysts, commentators are saying that, well, look at the case in Nigeria.
Yeah.
How well are we doing with corruption?
No, we're
for
doing
instance?
very badly. Yeah, it's
Well,
obvious,
that's you.
That's my opinion.
That's
yes.
you.
Yes.
Now, ask someone else, and you'll be hearing something different.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who will say that you don't understand. If you understood the depth of it, then you'd be a bit more generous. And there are people who say, and there's no change. There are people who will be saying between 6 and half a dozen. So there's a sense, perhaps, in which it's something of a tightly run race, and people are being very, very careful. The EC especially. You know.
Absolutely, and you
EC
see,
as an electoral commission.
the commission of Ghana, and you see when you have a situation where people, because then it's not a film, it's our lives. When we feel the pinch, we want some level of relief, and if we don't get it, the normal thing is for us to shout out. For instance, people had thought that if Mahama, for instance, had thrown himself more into this election, maybe he would have had a better win if he was going to get a win at all.
Okay.
Now, so if this has happened, a lot of people have laid the blame at his table, saying that maybe he didn't throw himself sufficiently enough. The Mahama they expected, you know, maybe he just thought of it in the middle of the road that this is possible. Let's go for it, you know. And I mean, of course, a lot of allegations have come on. The latest, which is very scary, is the fact that the incumbent president sort of used army, you know, to do certain things that is not very customary, you know, to the Ghanaians, because
society.
you know they expect that whenever an election is going on, you don't really have the military coming to show off, to be part of the process in saying, oh, this should not happen, that should happen, and those are the kind of things. Because at the end of the day, what people really run with is the fact that, look, this looks like we're getting in trouble in this area. If things were clear, and that's why, for me, what happened in America should teach all of us a lot of lesson. It is about the system. How well do you make your system transparent to the extent that from afar, there's nothing wrong with being angry, for me crying foul, for me saying, oh, there's a problem there. But as long as the process is very transparent, everybody will see from afar that, oh God, this is not the case. But when you have a situation where there are dark, you know, clouds, where you have reason to say, I suspect this, and those things you could see that there is reason to suspect, you have situations like this, and I pray that it doesn't spin out of control, because like we all have agreed, Ghanaians and Ghana have been noted to be very peaceful people, and they've always solved their problems in a very peaceful way.
Indeed, and you know, for the avoidance of doubt, it needs to be said the die has been cast, the election has been completed. There's no trouble there. It's about the results. Declaring the results.
And the longer it waits, the possibility of compromise is higher. That's the truth. Because as long as you have human being involved in a particular process, you definitely will find a situation where, as long as you keep the result, the possibility of them tampering with the results is very likely.
Well, okay, maybe looking at it logically. But the Electoral Commission in Ghana,
have insisted, they've said several things.
Yes,
they've had several.
They sort of explained
the reason.
It was unavoidable. Bad, inclement weather was
weather,
yes. all that kind of thing, and some logistics.
And some political parties didn't sign off, because usually one of the parties they have is, before the thing is tendered to them, the electoral body, it's signed off by all the parties' representative, and that they're having issues. Of course, the way they've done, and we also need to acknowledge that, what they've done in Ghana is, with the press and the political parties, you have a situation where all of them have set up a process whereby they are able to sort of do a level of check before this report or results are sent to the central body. So right now, the problem is with the political parties because they've not signed off those things, and if they're not signed off, it will not be acceptable at the level of the electoral body.
So as we speak, we still don't know the results. And,
up till now, yes.
Up till now, and I've not seen too many people, as the pollsters call it, for one or the other. Does that say anything that, look, you can't really tell? You know, again, to sort of do a small comparison to the U.S., there's the whole Trump-Biden thing. And whereas, yes, Trump is behaving in a very, very surprising way to most people around the world, but still, people are noting that there still was, what, at the last count, I think about 80 million people that would have him, and it's not an insignificant number. True, Biden won by what?
Can't remember very clearly.
But a humongous margin.
Yeah.
It's not a photo finish at all. Yeah. It's not a photo finish at all. So people say you still have to worry about that. And so, you know, for a long time, they were very, very careful how they called it, until they could use Koro figures to say this is fact, yes. Do you think something like that? But before you go, let me go over to, I have a call. Mr. Joshua in Irewolide. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And you?
Okay. This is a wake-up call for Africa.
Okay.
As soon as what happened in America happened, I think I called to the program that we need to be careful in Africa. What Trump has done is a real signal to us to guard our democracy. I think we moved from military to civil rule, and then we are trying to translate everything out to real democracy. But our democracy should be homegrown. We are still very power-drunk people in Africa, right? There's a lot of reasons for us to be concerned about our elections.
Okay.
And I would just say Ghana has enjoyed democracy for quite a while now. Now, this issue of delay in announcing results is suspicious. And that's a signal to what might begin to happen in Africa if we don't quickly arrest the situation, I mean very quickly. And I would say that we need to sit down and actually ask ourselves the sort of democracy that is suitable for Africa. I agree to democracy, but that one by U.S. is not what we should just swallow hook, line, sinker. We should look at the democracy that is good for us so that we can have a stable Africa.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua, for calling in. You know, it reminds me of a marketing/advertising maxim, you know, something global, think local. You know, think global, act local. Yeah. You know, think global, act local. That seems to be what he's saying. And democracy, can it be? Is the word panel beated? Can it be panel beated into individual shapes such that one size doesn't fit all?
It's just a function.
Do you subscribe to that whole notion?
No, I mean,
because democracy is what it is.
Is what it is.
The simplest definition is what? You know,
by the people, for the people. And look,
and every vote counts. So, what room for panel beating is there?
I think our case is not far-fetched. In my opinion, we had a working arrangement that was working. What we just need to do, and with every democracy anywhere in the world, is to make sure that we have a system in place to deal with situations like this. Because as long as you have human beings, you would always have emotions. You will always have us say, oh, no, there's a foul here, I don't agree to this. So all you need to do is, look, the thing has been checked by a seamless system, everybody sees it, and that cuts across everything. Before you know it, you yourself and your people will call you and say, Oga, this is not going to work because the system says so. So that, in my opinion, is what the man that just called in.
I think I agree with you. You know, but first of all, let me not keep Mazi waiting anymore. Good morning, Mazi in. Mazi Okorafo from Arochukwu.
Good morning, Mr. Libros.
Good morning, sir. Where's Libros? Which Libros? Which Libros?
What is happening in Ghana now is just what I call it, just shaking. Because the electoral commissioner chairman that within 24 hours to release the result.
Yes.
But right now, what is happening now is shaking because as of yesterday we said incumbent. But now, to me, African election, if I have my way, no president should come back for second tenure. After one tenure, let the president go. That is to say, if this system can be adopted by the African election, I'll bet you all these issues of Magomago are the same. Now look at what is happening now. Ghana, there are over 35 million as regards of population, and roughly 70.
Okay, we lost Mazi, but we got your drift precisely, didn't we? Well, they've explained. But you also said, and it links with what Mazi was saying, that what has happened in Ghana now, and the whole world has been praising Ghana. And even in Africa here, we're saying that we're proud of you, Ghana, and that's the way to go. But now this is happening. They probably didn't figure out what would happen or what they would do if something like this happened.
So it's putting the system to test.
It is.
So we're saying...
and so we are not there yet, but you're saying we can learn from this.
And saying, okay, what is that thing that will ensure? I've always referred to, maybe it's no longer there because of what happened here. The system you had at your door, that each time anyone comes in, you go with your thumb, and that allows you in. Now, what that does really is you cannot tell somebody to sign on your behalf because you need to physically come to the door to use your thumb, and that takes care of a lot of things in the system. The only way you can have human beings doing things right anywhere in the world is to make sure you take away control from the human beings. You must make sure that what controls what happens to us is something that is there in the open and nobody can influence it.
Absolute transparency is what you're saying.
That's the only way.
Mr. Olawale in Ikorodu, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Yori Folani.
Good morning, sir.
And your guest.
Yes, Mr. Sheyi Adeyemo.
Sir.
Why is it that in Africa, the only major issue of election is corruption? Because corruption is synonymous with Africa and African countries. Why is it? In developed countries of Canada, Europe, and other ones, those are not real issues. It's good governance that is wanted. Most African leaders that campaign that they will end up corruption. When they get to power, they become powerless. Okay? Because the people they want to fight, they are already part and parcel of the government. And there's nothing they can do. For instance, Nigeria is a typical case. We came to power in 2015 on the mantra of fighting Hydra-ended corruption. Okay? But today, corruption is still rampaging the whole society.
Okay,
so,
I get you, Mr. Lawale. I get you. Thank you very much for calling in. First of all, I don't think I want to agree with his all of his submission, especially that part about Africa and corruption being synonymous. That's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. But I said my piece. The point he makes, we want to be rid of corruption. Nobody is saying that we have to get rid of corruption. We are the people saying it ourselves. So we know what is good, what is bad. And I'm not belittling Mr. Lawale's submission in any way, shape, or form. It's just that I can't voice those words myself. I will not accept that Africa and corruption are synonymous. I'm an African. I'm a Nigerian. You can't look at me and say you see me as a representative of a corrupt person. I just said my own rant. That was my own rant. I'm sure you'll agree, at least with part of it.
From yesterday, and which is why it's a little worrisome, I'm talking about Ghana now. You had a situation where the information minister came out and gave a press briefing saying that, look, we've noticed this. And at the same time, almost at the same time, you had the spokesperson of Mahama Kufuor's party coming out to say these are the situations as well. Now, one of the things I found worrisome was the fact that he then attributed their win to the fact that they had won so many seats, you know, in the House of Rep, in their own thing. And I said to myself, is that the way he ought to go about it? Is he expected to start to say that, oh, because we have won so seats, then that tells you we're going to win the presidency? I think we need to be careful. And I go back to this.
Well, there will be political philosophy that will differ from region to region,
No, it's
even
about-
within the same country.
So it's about the system. Because
It is.
in Ghana,
it is.
it is-
Forgive me.
okay,
Let me quickly take in Tunde. Tunde is our last caller on this subject. Good morning, Tunde in Ikeja.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Okay. Good morning.
sir. Go ahead,
Morning,
please.
sir.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, Tunde.
Good morning. Please, I don't think Ghana has done anything suspicious or extraordinary. They
Okay.
just delay result.
Either
And the
suspicious
reason
or
they
extraordinary.
They must have their reasons
Yes.
for delaying their result. So if they want to correct one thing or the other, it is not out of way. We are not yet 23 days or 3 or 4 days. So let us wait till if there is need to create a very, very objective result, we have to wait.
Okay.
Now, so I think I heard you say that maybe some political party, they are yet to sign some things. Now, if they announce the result without signing it, that's the aberration. So I don't think anything untoward. America, that people are copying, they have been doing the worst for the past 1 month now. We don't know who won the election. So I think in Africa, let Ghana come.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you very much, Tunde.
Local government.
Thank you very much, Tunde. And I think that's sort of a fine place to sort of leave it in a semi sort of a way. If they need to do whatever it is that is causing this delay to declare a result with integrity, so be it, is what Tunde is saying. Never mind the fact that they had said we will announcing the result in 24 hours. That was their plan. But you don't follow a plan slavishly if it's going to compromise the entire system.
But the point is, so we should be careful so that does not also compromise the eventual result. Because the
Yes.
The reason why people want the result now is that the more you delay, so for that reason, people are worried that it's taking this much time.
So we wish Ghana all the best, and all of us are waiting with bated breath, not just in Nigeria, around the world.
Around the world.
Because, everybody has a stake, especially we in Africa, we have a stake in this.
We should learn and make sure we do ours better.
I particularly like the point you made about we need to also learn from this. Other people also made that point from home, that we learn from this. This was the way they proposed it, but this is not the way it is disposing itself. Thank you very much, as always, for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Indeed, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Mr. Adeyemo, publisher and African Affairs analyst. Stay with us, please. And when we come back, there'll be another subject. Okay, welcome back, and thank you for staying if we started together. Now let's look at the APC, the ruling party, and its NEC, extending the Buni-led caretaker committee. By the way, one headline I saw coupled that particular fact with Hilary Etta being expelled from the party, because he didn't agree to the suggestion that all parties should go and withdraw all suits that they have in court. He didn't. Something happened in there. Now he's been expelled. But I suppose the news is that their tenure has been extended for another 6 months. And by the way, I've already started speaking my terrible manners without even introducing Adekunle Yusuf. He's so very, very well known. Thank you very much for coming on. Adekunle is associate editor at The Nation newspaper. Thank you very much for coming on.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I was just looking at the story here, and why have they? Why the need to extend their tenure? You know, part of the reason, as provided by the president speaking, let me just quote a paragraph. Let me just quote a paragraph here in the report. I am convinced, Mr. President speaking now, that in the last 5 months since the appointment of the caretaker committee, the initiatives taken have brought a remarkably new atmosphere of hope to the party. So that's just one. Evaluate that statement of Mr. President as, you know, part of the reason why he's enthused and carry on. You know, you guys need another 6 months. You'll deliver in another 6 months.
When you look at what the president said, because I also, you know, listened to it, I just smiled that maybe those who wrote the speech for the president didn't, you know, want him to really know the situation of things. Because what has happened in almost 6 months of caretaker leadership of the ruling party, they want people to believe that a lot of, you know, efforts, I mean, success has been made in reconciliation.
Yes.
Because
which is the claim being made apart from Zamfara? Apart from Zamfara, Zamfara alone. That is where there seems to be an
not only in
intractable...
Zamfara, even in this state that we are in, you have wranglings, internal wranglings. You have the party, this ruling party, it's like an opposition, you know, to itself. It's so lucky the PDP is not, you know, a good opposition. So but in the absence of that, they created opposition for themselves. So within the party, what you have, like, you know, cacophonous voices, everybody pursuing different agenda, and there's no one man, one figure that can unite everybody. Because
but isn't that Mr. President's role?
Aware, but when the president seems not to be doing it, so what happens? So when you see what the president said yesterday, if I will put it, I will say the last 5 months, as he put it, have brought a remarkably new, you know, era of discord and turmoil in the party, and you will soon see.
But on the contrary, what Mr. President, to revert back again to his statement, which has been locked in print now, and he says further, healthy debates are now taking place, and the potential for organs of the party to affirm majority positions as the decision of the party is now possible.
Maybe the president should just move around some state chapters to see what is happening there. There is just maybe we'll be convinced. You know, when you are so busy with, you know, state affairs in Abuja, sometimes it's so difficult. But if you want to know the true state of things, from one state to another, the APC is in a mess.
And this is not the way to approach 2023. Of course, you know that.
This caretaker should have, I mean, by the terms of reference and tenure and everything, should have just gone by December 25. So to avoid what you call a vacuum, so they needed to extend
by another 6 months because they haven't.
But you will now ask, what manner of an unelected caretaker committee will go around to dissolve tenured, you know, elected, you know, structures that are tenured? It's only in APC. So when I read the speech of the president, or the script that was acted yesterday as a whole, I look at it as it wasn't written by a political scientist or a team of political, you know, scientists. It must have been written by somebody who has background in military training. They are the ones who know a lot about ambush as a tactics, you know, for winning, you know, wars and all that. Because of what happened yesterday, majority of people who attended the meeting didn't know a lot of the things that happened there. They were only told they wanted to extend the tenure of the caretaker, you know, committee. But they went ahead to take far-reaching, you know, decisions. One of them was to dissolve all structures, you know, from the state level. That is like adding petrol to fire. And I will explain to you, when you go ahead to dissolve elected structures from the state level, to the world, to the local government, to the world, to everything. What you have done is you've created another round of problems. Number one, you've shown us that, all the reconciliation stories you have told us, they are not true. Because if you have achieved genuine reconciliation, there's no need for you to dissolve any structure.
Okay.
These are tenured, officers of the party.
That's on the one hand.
No.
But how about the idea that through the work of the Buno-led committee, people who had defected, who had left the party, they've all come back, according to the president. They've all come back. And that's even not counting people who also want to come in afresh to the APC.
Yeah, you can take care of that. Maybe those who you can take care of that without disturbing the structures of the party.
Okay.
Because in these states where you said you have done remarkable job in reconciling, aggrieved members, you don't need that. Now that you have dissolved in the structures, you know what you will do? The party will now go back to have congresses. You don't. And if you know in any party, any time for Congress is a time for warfare on its own, because it's not easy to do it. Now, you created another round of crisis that will further weaken the ruling party. That's what they've just done.
You don't think that they have it all figured, and that they also are aware of the notion you've just shared, but have an answer?
What answer? Do you know that eventually they converted the solution of state escorts to caretaker committees? It was because people revolted. See, remove President Muhammadu Buhari from the equation. What you would have seen yesterday would have amounted to serious war within the ruling party. But majority or many people in the party didn't like many things that took place. But who is the person who will be bold enough to challenge the president? Because when you challenge the chairman of the caretaker committee yesterday with the president on his seat, backing him fully, believe me, nobody will see it as you are challenging Buni. They will say you are challenging the president. But eventually, some state chairmen said no, that we are tenured.
And perhaps to sort of...
So at the end of the day, they have to convert, because if they had gone away with that, do you know what will happen? The caretaker community that was not elected, that enjoyed the power to dissolve elected structures, will now create caretaker committees at the state, their own. At the end of the day, those ones will now create another caretaker committee at the lower levels, local government, wards, and all that. What that means is that some people are creating the party, or let me say recreating the party in the image of some people. That is to say, this is a party that is afraid of its shadows. Maybe somebody is afraid of somebody or some people. And unfortunately, the people that seem to be having the upper hand now are the ones that enjoy, the attention of the president.
First of all, if you agree that APC seems to have this knack for being able to pull itself back from the brink in the nick of time, do you think the situation such as you're describing is anything that would necessarily boil over? Perhaps it might come, because we've agreed this is not the way to approach 2023. With all the philosopher kings and all the, the think tanks and all the strategies, all of that, going back to that idea of APC being able to pull itself back from the brink in the nick of time, are you optimistic that we might well be in that kind of a situation, where all of this that you seem to be unsatisfied with can be fixed, possibly?
Well, sometimes you don't stretch your luck too far.
Okay.
You can't be lucky every day.
Okay.
All the time. You can't be,
you can't make a habit of it.
No, what the APC is doing, you are postponing the evil day, you are postponing the evil day. It will come. As the Yoruba will say, they will say, Taba Sonkosi, Tioba Pada Wani, Kelemea Pada Wani, something. So when you postpone the evil day, it will certainly come. What do I mean? What manner of party does this kind of thing that you've just done?
Yeah.
What level of consultations? You have turned the party to just a party of elected officers of the party. That's not true. Okay. There are caucuses, national caucuses, there are national leaders within the party.
That also have to be carried along.
You just have to, consult them. Many people were taken aback by what happened yesterday within the party.
Okay, we have a little film clip on this. Let's see that continue. Come back, continue, and also take your calls.
The initiative to carry out membership registration revalidation is therefore a necessary step. Membership registration revalidation will lay the foundation for reorganizing our leadership from ward to local government, state, and national levels.
It is with honor that we invite the National Executive Committee to review the activities of the Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee in the last 5 months and to direct accordingly the next steps forward. It is with the highest sense of responsibility that we present the NEC an abridged report and a few recommendations requiring its approvals.
So there you have it. You probably saw it earlier. The enthusiasm that we're seeing here for this presentation, you don't share. As you said,
no,
it's like postponing the evil day.
Yes, that's what they are doing. You see, part of the decision yesterday was to embark on fresh registration within the party of members. Oh, great. If there is fairness within the party, if there is what people call justice within the party, if you carry people along, if it's not about a few people
imposing a will, let it be said.
You said some people had led the party, their names still appear on the register. You can delete their name. You said some people want to join, they can join the party. But it's a good thing if you go ahead and embark on a fresh registration of of members, at the end of the day, if you don't exclude those who perceive as enemies, opponents, to be beautiful.
Okay, Ibrahim, thank you very much for holding on. Ibrahim in Kaduna. I'm so sorry, Ibrahim. I think that I left that a little too late. Apologies, Ibrahim. Called in from Kaduna. See if you can get us again, Ibrahim. I'll interrupt myself mid-sentence if necessary. I just wanted you to land, and then we lost Ibrahim.
Hey, sorry, sorry about that. You said there's another decision, which was that you want to make sure that people who just newly come in, the party won't have to subject them to the rules of the constitution of the party, whereby you have to stay for so
before you can
contest and be within the party. The people can vote for you, can vote, and all that. It's also a good thing. But when you look deep down, you see a lot of games
going on. Femi in Surulere, good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Good morning, and to your guests too.
Good morning, sir.
The problem we are seeing in it started right from the day INEC declared APC as the winner of the last election in 2015. A single individual decided to take the credit for the party's victory, and he decided to run the party on his own micro view, which is affecting the party and is also affecting the country. Because the time when we started this thing, we all joined together to make him acceptable to the country. The moment he got the mandate, he thought it was his own personal victory and he wanted to run it the way he liked it. And that is the problem we are having up to today with the party. So, if we want to go forward, we have to run that party as a joint party that everybody contributes. If Buhari stays here for the next 10 years, he cannot deliver the what we promised Nigerians we are going to deliver. But if we join together to do it, we will deliver what we want to deliver within 4 years. It's running the whole thing. Even when you see the dissolving of the national executive, it was done by very few individuals. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Your beautiful contribution. That's the genesis of the problems of the party. The president came in and started saying that it was integrity of the president that won him election. But they didn't say it that after like 2 or 3 disastrous outings, people didn't see the integrity data. But let's leave that. When you look at the evolution, how did this caretaker committee people came in? You remember how Oshiomhole was shown the exit door, and these ones were brought in.
I beg your pardon, Ibrahim from Kaduna has called back.
Okay.
Good morning, Ibrahim. Thank you for calling back again.
All right. Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling. Good morning.
And also good morning with
Yeah, Adekunle Yusuf.
Yes, okay. Thank you for correcting me. Yes, this is Ibrahim from Kaduna.
Please go ahead, Ibrahim.
All right. You see, I listened to the comment of your guest here.
Adekunle Yusuf.
Yes, he really spoke. Yes, he spoke as a political scientist. But in other words, we should also look at the frame, at least the foundation. The foundation that laying up that structure as well. Not to the party.
So sorry, Ibrahim. Your call, if you can hear us, your call, it drifted towards the end, and now we couldn't even hear the end. He was going to, he agreed with you, and he thought, yep, you were being a political pragmatist.
The genesis of the problems.
Yes. But it goes back to what, who was the
caller before him almost said something.
Yes.
You know,
and he talked about, they spoke about the perception of the party by the leaders of the party now, perception of what this party is. He specifically, he mentioned Mr. President.
Yes, it's true.
In particular.
There is no doubt about it. The president personalized victory. And in democracy, it's a collective effort. So you leverage on the party because you sold certain ideas to the people, you promised them certain things which probably made them to embrace you and jettison the other candidates. But unfortunately, you saw what has happened over the years. So many of the things they promised Nigerians, they've never been able to even begin, let alone do.
Which is not the same as to say that they haven't delivered other things.
Of course, they are
just that those which they promised.
Of course, the president is not sleeping in office. He's done a lot of things.
So those which they promised, especially in the area of corruption,
there are some core things.
Power, for instance.
There are some core areas, core promises that were made. People expect, especially restructuring of the country.
Okay, one moment. Ruben in Sapele, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. You see, what is happening with the APC as a party, I think they are just postponing the evil days ahead. You see, one man's meat is another man's spoil. You think the problem that got Oshiomhole out will affect the caretaker chairman later on in the party? See, let us watch and see. I'm not going to be a prophet of doom, but I'm going to be very realistic in this issue. What I see is that we may end up being a split APC if care is not taken. But mind you, the problem with our politicians is greed, wanting to hold on to power at all means. And it's not going well with us. I just pray that the youth will rise up and vote APC and PDP general election. God bless you and keep doing the good job.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. It's like where he ended, the sentiment he ended on there. An infusion of fresh blood seems to be, would be, his recommendation, which we've also heard in other aspects of our society. Now, he mentioned the youth. I wanted to comment. I wonder if by that comment, embedded in that is the fact that the elders, and in political circles you find a lot of them, are not able to think in the best way for these times. And that is why the whole matter of a fresh set of legs, which is not going to happen anytime soon the way African politics is configured, or how do you see it? Because even they, from that camp, have been saying that, look,
it's a probability.
It's a mixture of both. You need experience and you need vibrancy. Those two are not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Yeah, what he said is a probability, but I don't see it happen now, because the kind of politics that we practice here is money politics. It's money politics. And those who have cornered the opportunities, who have been around in the space for a long time, they won't let go just like that. So I don't know how the youth can galvanize themselves within a short period. I don't see it happen.
Not anytime
because
soon.
of the cleavages that we have in our polity, religious, sectional, tribal, all those things we also play in, because
and will take time.
Because even among the elders, these are issues that dodge their politics. So when you talk about the youth, it will also come in as well. So you see, look at the last NSAS protest.
Okay,
you will see the northern youths, they are saying this, the other ones are they. I don't want to hear these northern youth, Yoruba youth, Nigerian youths.
Exactly.
Beautiful, but we don't have it right now.
We're going to have to leave it here. Thank you very much for coming
I'm
on
glad to be here. Thank you.
Giving us your perspective on, the APC trying its best to organize itself and reorganize itself. Thank you very much, Adekunle Yusuf, Associate Editor at The Nation newspaper. And that brings us to the end of the program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Fulani. Bye-bye for now.